Hey guys, it's Heather, and today I want to talk about my GLP-1 journey. So if you've been around my channel for the last 5 or 6 years, I did start my channel in 2018, and you've seen a fluctuation in a lot of aspects of my life, from the size of my body, my hair, animals, whatever. Things change, people change, right? I have had some comments over the last year and a half about my weight loss journey. And at first, when I first started doing my weight loss, I had mentioned I was doing some things for weight loss, but I didn't explain what it was. And I have talked about this a couple of times since then, but I do want to start from the very beginning. At the very beginning of this, I'm going to say this is not medical advice. This is not to talk you into or out of doing anything. This is my journey, how it worked for me, and nothing more than that. So things that happened to me or didn't happen to me may or may not be different for you. I do want to go back to the beginning. I was not an overweight child. I was not an overweight teenager. In fact, I was a competitive gymnast for many, many years, and I had a pretty good body when I ended up pregnant with my son at 17. And I was very small at that time, and I'll tell you, I was 98 pounds when I got pregnant with my son, and when I left the hospital, I was 103. So I gained very little weight during that pregnancy, and my body bounced back very, very quickly. The same cannot be said for my second pregnancy when I was 24. That is my daughter, Emily, who a lot of you know and follow her on her channel as well. I did gain 88 pounds in that pregnancy, and I was not happy in that life. I loved the fact that I was having another baby and all, but my life then was not happy, and it showed in how I treated myself. So I did gain 88 pounds, and from that point forward, I struggled with my weight at 24 years old. That was a lot of eating out. My son at that time was 6, and he was in sports. My kids were always in sports, and I was finding myself on the go, and we were eating a lot of takeout, eating out, cheap, inexpensive, fast meals, that type of thing. And it reflected in my body, in my mental, and in every part of my life. Over that period of time, from the time that I had her, and I think she was about 18 months old, is when I tried Herbalife. And I did drop weight on Herbalife. And in fact, that's how I met one of my best friends who's now recently passed away. But I did lose weight, but I was taking unbelievable amounts of supplements every single day. I think I was just full of supplements, and I was focused on, eating better and that type of thing. But long story short, for a very long period of my life, like 2 decades or more, my weight fluctuated. I was a yo-yo. I would go up, and then down, 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 down. And I was trying to go to the gym. I was trying to watch what I ate. And at my highest weight ever, and I think I've mentioned this one other time on my channel, I weighed 202 pounds, and I'm currently 5'1.5". I think at that time I was about 5'2". I've lost a half an inch or so since, in the last 53 years of my life. But 202 pounds on a 5'1" frame is not healthy. It is not healthy. I'm also an asthmatic, so that doesn't help with your breathing. I was miserable, and this was actually before I met my husband, and I started doing something about it then. Again, multiple different types of fad diets. I did the Atkins diet. You name it. If it was introduced, I did it. And for a period of time when I was really, really focused on it, I would drop weight. And my wardrobe was ridiculously, I had every size from like a 6 to a 12. Actually at one point when I was 202 pounds, I was a size 16. When I met my husband 15 years ago almost, I weighed right around 150 pounds, we'll say, okay? And maybe a little less than that, I don't remember. But I was fluctuating then too. I was really trying, and we got engaged very quickly, and we got married the same year that we met. And I wanted to lose weight for my wedding, and I think I got down to about 140 pounds. And I honestly felt like that was the best that I was going to do, and that was with watching every single thing I ate, tracking everything, tracking calories, tracking fat, trying every fad possible. I even tried the pill, the phentermine, I think is what it was called. And that made me edgy and anxious and nervous, and I couldn't sleep, and it was just not for me. It would help with the eating, but it affected me in so many bad ways other than that. So that one wouldn't work for me. But by the time I got married, I think I was somewhere around 140 pounds. And again, I thought that was the best that I was going to get. That's it. Fast forward a couple of years, I started CrossFitting, and I had a trainer who was giving me what to eat in a day and what WODs, workout of the days, to do. I had built a gym in my house based around CrossFitting. I still have that same gym, and I've added some things to it since then. I need to go down there and get rid of the cobwebs and dust. That's how much I use the gym now, and I need to make a change there. But I did lose weight. The problem was I was also gaining a lot of muscle, and there were certain parts of my body that I didn't love, like my forearms. I had this big bulging muscle that came out here. I didn't want to bulk. I wanted to slim, and my trainer looked at it differently. He just wanted to turn all the fat I had into muscle, and I wanted to reduce the fat before I got the muscle. Long story short, I ended up with an injury. I have cervical radiculopathy. Sounds like a strange word, but it is a pinched nerve in the back of my neck. And that stopped my training very, very quickly. I came to a screeching halt. 3 epidurals later, I couldn't move my head. I couldn't function. I was in so much pain. My doctors kept giving me pain meds and I couldn't function that way. And they gave me a couple of options. I could have up to 3 epidurals or surgery. Long story short, the 3rd epidural finally did the trick. I still have pain from time to time. Like right now, I'm dealing with something that I've been dealing with since the summer. And I'm trying to do everything as naturally as possible because I refuse to have the surgery. Fast forward from there, I ended up with the torn meniscus in my knee, and I had to have surgery on that. Once the meniscus was repaired, I think they took out too much cartilage, and I've had knee problems ever since. And shortly after the meniscus surgery, they told me that I was going to have a complete and total knee replacement in order for me to walk properly. And when I tell you I couldn't walk, I could not walk. I have a bathroom that's maybe 25 feet from where I sit and watch TV. And when I needed to use the restroom, I would say, how bad is it? Because getting from my seat to the bathroom was unbelievable amounts of pain. I couldn't, if we had to go to the grocery store, I'd have to lean on a cart. My husband said, why don't you drive, one of the little cart things that you sit on? And I refused to do that, but it was a torturous activity for me. And I started doing some research into what people did before knee replacements. How do you reduce inflammation? And I made a big change 4 years ago. And I went gluten-free, pretty much dairy-free, pretty much sugar-free, and that type of thing. And I wanted to see if that worked with my inflammation. And it did. It did. I did test that theory because I thought, well, maybe it's just a coincidence that I started having less pain in my knee and my joints and stuff. So I tried gluten again, and the pain came raging back, and I finally said I'm not. And I've been glutened a couple of times since then, and I can tell about a week later when I start having pain. But it's nowhere near what I was eating before, because I was eating pasta and bread and sugar and you name it, junk food. That's what I was eating. But when I went gluten-free, I did not think about extra fat, extra sugar, extra calories. So I was replacing all of my gluten things with gluten-free things that were cookies and candy and baked goods and pastas and stuff that were very high in carbohydrates, very high in calorie, and promptly gained 20 pounds very, very quickly. And I'm going to show you a picture now. It's an embarrassing picture. It's my husband and myself, and we were with the Easter Bunny. I can't believe I'm about to show you this picture, but This was, I don't even know the date of this. I want to say somewhere in like the range of 2015, 2016. Yes, that's me. And there's my husband and obviously the Easter Bunny. But the reason I'm actually talking about this today is I walked into my husband's office the other day and I was like, you really need to take that picture down. I hate that picture. And he says, well, I love that picture. We were happy and it's a good memory and it shows you where you came from. So just take a look. Let me just try to, yeah, we were happily married and eating out constantly and baking all kinds of Christmas goodies and Easter goodies. And yeah, and I honestly don't know what I weighed at that point. I'm gonna guess somewhere 175. Again, that isn't my highest weight. So it was after that I started CrossFitting. So this is going back in time. I'm not exactly on a perfect timeline here. So 2 summers ago, actually I think it's 3 summers ago now. Yeah, 3 summers ago, I did a summer try-on haul. At the end of the summer, I had gone shopping about a whole bunch of clearance and on sale summer clothes because I was going to be going on a Caribbean cruise in March of 2024. And I thought, I need to get some clothes. I think that time I was about a medium large, probably an 8-10 size. And I wanted those things because I knew come March, I wasn't going to be able to do any summertime shopping between the end of that summer and the time that we went on our cruise in March of 2024. And I looked back at that video the other day and I was significantly heavier then too. And I want to say at that point, I was probably around 168 pounds, 165 pounds. And in that video, I actually mentioned that I was in the process of doing some things to lose some weight. And that was at the beginning of me talking to my doctor and thinking about going on a GLP-1. I had my appointment with him at the end of that summer. I think that was in August. And I started my GLP-1 journey in August of 2023. I started off with a regular dose. I did trizepatide. I did not do semaglutide. I did trizepatide. He put me on the Mounjaro pen, which is one dose. You can't change your dosage or whatever. I would usually do it in my abdomen, but you rub the alcohol. You inject yourself once a week. And the first few times I did, I was terrified to do it. My husband did it for me. But anyway, I noticed a change right away. Food noise. And the word food noise had never been a top... I never thought of the word or the phrase food noise or what that was. It was either hungry or not hungry or really, really, really full. Oh God, I can't eat anymore. I wasn't thinking about food constantly. It wasn't a constant, what am I having for dinner? What am I having for breakfast? What that type of thing. And again, I was already gluten-free and had been for a period of time, I think a year and a half, almost 2 years at that point, but I was still eating not well. Focusing more on nutrition, but not eating well. So the GLP-1 shot started the end of August 2023. And again, I had bought all of these clothes to go on my cruise in March. By Christmas time, that's September, October, November, December. So we're going to say 4 months. I had gone from an 8-10 clothing size to about a size 4-6, which is, I never thought I'd be a 4. I remember even one time being so frustrated with myself, crying to my husband saying, I'm never going to be a 4. I'm never going to be a 4. And it wasn't like I was trying to be a specific size. I just wasn't happy with where I was. But I was wearing a size 4 jeans and top or whatever, so mainly a size small by Christmas. And I remember that Christmas I wore a pair of jeans, a pair of knee boots, and a green silk shirt that was a size small, and it was kind of hanging on me, but I felt so much more confident in pictures. I felt pretty. And that is a mentality thing. I'm not saying that your weight is tied to your mental health or vice versa. I'm just saying that's what, for me, I felt better. I felt healthier. I felt prettier. And I even noticed reduced knee pain, even further from the gluten-free. But I mean, I was carrying a lot less weight on my frame. I was realizing that I was losing the weight pretty quickly. I think I had lost roughly... My goal weight was 140. Okay, my goal weight was 140 because I thought that was the best I was ever going to do. I think I hit that the beginning of December. Then I started looking at the clothes that I was taking with me on my cruise. And I was like, okay, well, none of this is going to fit. And I started trying it on and started kind of panicking. This is right after Christmas. I started panicking about what I was going to take on a Caribbean cruise. It was the dead of winter. There was no place to go shopping, for summertime, even lightweight, anything. Nobody had anything on their websites. And so I hopped on Poshmark, and I didn't know what size I was. So I just started ordering. So I ordered 4s. They came in, they were too big. I'm like, okay. Now this is going all the way through January and February. And I'm sorry, I can't tell you how much weight I lost each week. I want to say it was roughly 2. Give me 1 second. My husband's calling. Sorry about that. I always have to answer when he calls. So I had been ordering from Poshmark, and I wasn't sure what size. I'd ordered some, they were some linen joggers by, I think, J. Crew. And the size 4 just hung on me. Even the elastic waistband, even though it had a drawstring, they just looked ridiculous. So I was wasting money because you can't make returns on these things. So then I ordered a size 2. And this is going, all the way through the month of January into February. And, middle of February is when I was going to start packing for my week-long trip. And so I started buying all these different sizes, and I ended up on my cruise taking size 2s with me. My husband and I did go to Anthropologie, and somewhere I have a picture of me in the dressing room trying some things on. They had these like glitter or sequined pants that I picked up, and I was wearing just a little crop top, and I couldn't believe what I looked like. And those were a size 2. And they were very comfortable. They were not tight. They were not loose. They were very comfortable. So I did take those with me, and I took all my old concert t-shirts that I would just kind of tie up at my waist or let it hang off my shoulder. I just didn't have a lot to take, and I just kind of made do with what I had because it was not that time of year. By my cruise, I think I was done with what I wanted to lose wise. At that point, I think I was down to about 122 pounds, and I thought that was fine. My doctor said he liked that weight, even though it was weird. All these years of my life when my doctors would tell me that I needed to start focusing on my weight and lose some weight. And mind you, most of these doctors were overweight, telling me that I needed to lose weight. They told me that my weight for my body was between 107 and 127. They told me that was what my BMI was, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to look skeletal. I'm in my 40s at this point, or 50s. I'm in my 50s at this point. How can I possibly be down to what I weighed as a teenager? It's not even a physical possibility. But I did get down to about 122 pounds. My doctor was happy with that. I was happy with that. But I was on like a maintenance dose. And throughout this time, I never went above the 5 milligram dosage of the trizepatide, the Mounjaro. And again, it was already a preloaded pen. So it was, however much in the pen that I would inject once a week. I was very, very careful with what I ate. I was very diligent on the amount of protein that I was eating. I was focused on about 80 to 100 grams of protein every single day. And I ate for fuel. I did not eat I didn't snack. I was very, very careful about what I ate. I made sure that everything that I ate served a purpose. And that is true to this day. Every single thing I put into my body to this day, it's with intent. And over this past, it's been now 2 years. It's been 2 years. I have maintained, for a long time, I didn't take any shots whatsoever. And I have learned that I have taken a shot here and there, not on any type of a schedule, just when I knew something big was coming up and I didn't want to overeat, just to maintain. And right now, I'm going to tell you my current weight. I fluctuate between 111 and 115 pounds. So I know that everybody has their own scale or how they want to weigh themselves. I do weigh myself daily. It's just in the morning I use the restroom, I get undressed, I stand on the scale, and that helps me kind of determine what my day looks like, how many calories to put into my day, because I don't want to lose any more weight, but I also want to not my fear is if I start weighing like every once a week or once every 2 weeks, if I happen to get up 6 pounds, 8 pounds or whatever, that's much more difficult to get off than a couple of pounds. So I don't want to go under 111 and I don't want to go over 115. And this morning was 113.6. So that's exactly right in the middle. I'm perfectly fine with that. We did just have Thanksgiving last week. I did enjoy my Thanksgiving. Throughout this time, my side effects were, I never had any nausea whatsoever. Not one single time of nausea. Again, I only started off at 2.5, which is I think the normal, what everybody starts at. The highest dosage I ever went to was 5. Never had any nausea. The only thing I really had was constipation. And it never really got too bad either because I had watched other people's videos and they talked about supplements and I settled in on Mago 7 and it worked like a charm. It was exactly what I needed. And I was able to eat what I needed to eat in a day. Now, there were times where I wasn't very hungry and my calories were much lower. And then some days where I ate a little bit more, but I just kind of maintained each week. The way I eat now, and I haven't had a shot in, I think I did one about 6 weeks ago, and I have now changed from the Mounjaro. I am not on the Mounjaro pen. I use a compound pharmacy where it comes in a vial and you can pull your own dosage. So if I feel like I'm hearing a whole lot of food noise, I'll do a microdose. So, and that microdose can be anywhere from, I haven't done a 5 on that, but like a 2.5 or a 2 or something like that, just to keep myself in check. It's been 2 years. And this is just how I'm doing it. I'm not telling you this is the way you do it. It may not even be the right way to do it, but this is how I'm doing it. And it seems to help. Right now it is almost 11 o'clock and it's 5 till 11. Forgot to tell you, I also fast. I eat from noon to 7 almost every single day. That if we have like a family breakfast or something, I may eat a little earlier, or if we are running late and we're all going out to dinner, my kids and whatever, and we don't get seated until 6:30, 7 o'clock, I may be eating at 7:30. But for the most part, I eat from noon until 7. I wake up in the morning about 7 o'clock. I have my tumbler here. This is the Simply Modern. It holds 40 ounces of water. I fill ice to about right here, and it keeps the ice. So I figure I probably get about 30 ounces of water in this. In the morning, I chug as much as I can. It's the first thing I do before I even use the restroom, before coffee or anything. I chug what I would say is at least a cup of water first thing in the morning. And then I do have a coffee, but the coffee is under 50 calories, and that's my criteria for fasting. Nothing more than 50 calories before noon. At noon, I almost always make a smoothie. I usually make it in the morning when I leave, whether I'm going to take my brother to a doctor's appointment or if I'm going to work. It doesn't matter if I'm just going out shopping. I take my lunch with me. I very, 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 very rarely eat out unless I'm having a mother-daughter day and my daughter and I meet for lunch at like Chicken Salad Chick or something like that. Or Longhorn for their strawberry salad, which I love. But I pack my lunch and I focus on protein, and it's a protein smoothie is what it is. It's a lot of fruits and stuff with some protein powder and supplements. I'll do extra flaxseed. I'll do extra chia seeds. I use mushroom powder, you name it. It's in there. It's a cocktail of rushing my body with nutrition. And I'm not as focused on calories now. I don't track everything I eat because I'm kind of in a routine. I like my routine. I like what I'm eating. It satisfies me. I actually look forward to it. And on the days where I don't out of 365 days, there might have been 10 days where I didn't have the smoothie at noon, or the protein smoothie at noon. And my smoothie ends up being somewhere around 40 grams of protein. So just by the things that I put into it. From there, I do like, and I know a lot of people say that this is a lot of processed foods. In my smoothie is a bunch of whole foods. I do have like a beef stick that's got 10 grams of protein. I have a couple of the little Kind bars. I eat an apple almost every single day and a lot of times I'll add peanut butter to my apple, some natural peanut butter that I have to constantly mix. If you guys know a natural peanut butter that doesn't have sugars and bad oils, that isn't just this great, either completely runny or solid rock, please give me your suggestions because peanut butter is my nemesis. And then for dinner, I don't like to cook. Fun fact, I don't like to cook. I used to love to bake, but you can't really do a whole lot of baking when you're gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free. And I won't say that I'm 100% dairy-free. I will from time to time have like yogurt. Well, I'll eat a yogurt. Sometimes there's a plant-based protein in that. I do like cottage cheese. I do have, every once in a while when I have a bowl of cereal, which is my favorite, is I love Magic Spoon. I love 7 Sundays. And I also love the Simply Elizabeth, I think is what it's called. I love her gluten-free granola. I usually put that in an acai bowl. But anyway, it's hard to bake when you're not eating those types of foods anymore. Very, very rarely do I have a piece of like gluten-free bread, but if we're having a gluten-free pasta dinner, then I will pull out a piece of the Char gluten-free bread and add some butter and some garlic and toast that up just so I can have that. But to me, that's empty calories, and it's putting things where protein or something else healthy could be. So I have my routine. We do use metabolic meals. For 4 nights a week, my husband and I pick, we each get 4 meals. They get delivered to our house once a week. And we've been doing that now for probably 2 years. At the beginning of it, we were going through the different meal delivery services. We're doing Factor. I don't remember what all we did, but we ended up with metabolic meals because every single one of their meals is gluten-free. I'll occasionally have a pasta dish in there, but they have bison burgers. They have a large variety of things, and they're fresh. We eat 4 nights a week, and then the other 3 nights we figure it out, whether it's we make something at the house or we're having dinner out with our children or that type of thing. But I think over time, naturally, my stomach has shrunk with the amount that I eat. So the metabolic meals, I think the highest calorie one I've ever seen is 540 calories. And I don't normally pick that one. Mine are usually between 380 and 5 or 4 something. And a lot of times we'll put a salad with balsamic vinegar and avocado oil or olive oil in it with tomatoes and just for our green leafy types of things. But that's kind of how I'm eating, and that's pretty much how I eat every day and have been, and I like my routine. I'm a creature of habit, and I like my routine. I don't really know what else to say, I guess. I've had a few rude comments about being, doing the cheat way, or that I look like an old lady, that I, got wrinkles in my face. You do understand that no matter what weight loss journey you go on, if you were heavy to begin with and you lose a significant amount of weight, you're going to shrink everywhere, whether it's your face, your stomach, your butt, whatever it is, everywhere is going to shrink, and you lose the fat from your face too. And I wish there was a way to target that and not lose the fat from this area or that area and focus, but that's an impossibility. So this whole generation of Ozempic face and whatever, that's weight loss in general. Any person who is overweight significantly and has lost a significant amount of weight is going to have some lax skin. They're going to have wrinkles. Unless you're 20 something years old, there's a good possibility that your genetics might still be okay. I do have a little bit of laxicity. It does not really hanging skin, but a laxicity in here. And I think that with some strength training on my arms and my legs, that will bulk up. Nothing's sagging to the point where I would need skin removal. It's just I don't like the way it looks, so I prefer to cover those areas. But I think that adding some muscle tone in there would stretch that back out. I do have very deep hollows here. About 18 months ago, I did have filler put in. That's gone. I actually had Botox done the other day, and she asked me if I wanted to do filler, and I'm like, not right now. I'm not sure I want to. She said that my temples need it, the area here, and the reason we would do it here is because I do have wrinkles around my mouth, and that would kind of pull all this back up a little bit. I do have some, looser skin on my neck, but I am about to turn 53 years old. So these things are going to happen. I did not experience any hair loss. All with that being said, I heard people having this issue, and so I did things. I took supplements, and I started taking care of my scalp, and I focused on protein. I tried not to lose 5-6 pounds a week, but I didn't lose any weight. I mean, any hair during my weight loss journey, which I was thrilled about. And now I'm focusing on just making it fuller and grow longer. And problem is my hair is fragile, very, very thin. Look at the size of this ponytail. If I pull all my hair together, this little bitty ponytail, that's all I've got. And that's pretty much how it's been my entire adult life. So it's not from weight loss. It is genetics. My mom didn't have a lot of hair. My grandma didn't have a lot of hair. So I'm not going to have a lot of hair. It's just what it is. So I tried to take care of it. I do masks. I've talked to you about my hair care journey. That was probably about a month or so ago. I did a video on what I'm doing to maintain my hair. But I did have some breakage from a color that I had done not too long ago here. So this all was the same length. There you can see there's a piece there. But it is what it is. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it is what it is. But in general, the GLP-1 was life-changing for me. I have reduced the inflammation in my body so greatly that I don't even limp anymore. And when I tell you that I'm bone on bone, I can still feel the crunch of the bone on bone. But when they told me that I was only going to walk if I had a knee replacement, I started thinking about how often that would need to be done at the age that I'm at right now. I've known people who've had knee replacements that I didn't really see that much of a difference in the quality of their life afterwards. And, by getting rid of the inflammation foods that I was eating, and by reducing the amount of weight that my knees were having to handle, I have reversed my situation. It's not like it's built cartilage in my knee. Like I said, I feel the grind, but I no longer have that pain. Even in the dead of winter when it's cold or rainy, I don't have that ache that I used to have. So for me, it was life-changing, and I don't know that I will do it forever. I do have some stock here in my house that if I feel the need for a microdose, I will do a microdose from time to time. I'm not going to change my eating habits. And one of the biggest tricks I taught myself is it's okay for my stomach to growl. Just because my stomach's growling doesn't mean I need to go eat something. And so sometimes, like right now, I hear my stomach growling. It's now 5 after 11. I have 55 minutes before I'm going to even make my smoothie today. I actually just recently started Daily Harvest again. Today's going to be my first one. My daughter gave me one, and I haven't had those. I used to do those as well. So I usually make my own smoothie, but today I'm going to have a Daily Harvest. But I want to get some different whole foods in me. I do take healthy snacks, nuts. I can't eat walnuts. I'm very, very, very allergic to walnuts and Brazil nuts, and it's almost hospitalization situation with those. But I try to make every single thing that I eat serve a purpose. That does not mean I don't ever have a sweet treat. I love Chalk Zero, their Bestie bars. I will buy a case of those at a time, and that case lasts me 6 or 8 months. I'll have one every once in a while. Normally my snack is fruit or cottage cheese with fruit, or mainly fruit. That's what I usually snack on the most. Or nuts. I do like nuts. I can eat pecans, I can eat peanuts, I can eat almonds, I can eat cashews. I do like cranberries in with my cashews and my salted nuts. I do suffer from leg cramps, severe leg cramps. But that's something that I've, even before the weight loss, it's just kind of gotten a little bit worse because I don't eat a lot of salt. I am focused on nutrition. If you come into my house and you look through my pantry, if there's any junk food, it's because my husband's picked it up and he wants it. I won't touch it. Seed oils are out of our life to the best of our ability. It doesn't come in, unless it's in the metabolic meals, which I think they usually use olive oil. But sometimes a little snack might have a seed oil that I don't like, and I can't stop the things at certain restaurants. I very, very much moderation. Food dyes, not in my diet. I am very specific about the colorations. Right now I'm giving my dogs this advent calendar that I really wish were just iced in white, that they weren't. And it's a Christmas time thing. They love this thing. They look forward to it every year. And I wish they would reduce the food dyes and get rid of the food dyes and that. But so I do focus on my dog's nutrition as well. And my husband too. But I try to do as many things as I possibly can naturally. Granted, yes, I cheated, I guess. I took the GLP-1, but it was life-changing. And I don't know. I mean, I guess everybody's journey is different. I've watched several other people's journeys throughout the time that I've been on mine. And I can say, oh, I resonate with that. I've experienced that. Or no, that never happened to me, and I never heard some people got red spots from the injection site. I never once had a red spot from an injection site. I don't know. They said it itched or something, and I'm glad I didn't get that, but it didn't happen to me. But for me, it's been a pretty easy process. It did take me roughly 6 months to get to my goal weight, and I've been pretty much maintaining with a little loss, I went from 122. I guess I lost another 10 pounds that I fluctuate. I allow myself, like I said, 111 to 115. So sometimes I get to 115 and a half. Sometimes one time I did see 110 and I was like, okay, today I need to up my calories a little bit. So I think it's been a life-changing situation for me. And I'll tell you, not just the energy, not just feeling better, not just the inflammation being gone, but I have had fun shopping. I've shopped for a new body, and it took a little bit of time to figure out what that looked like, where you shop, I was still trying to hide things. I was still trying to break bad habits, I guess. And I was like, you know what? I can wear a fitted dress. I can wear a fitted top. Bras were not fun because you had to try on 1,000 different bras. I even lost half a shoe size, you guys. I lost half a shoe size, and I didn't even know that that was a possibility. So, but anyway, I don't know if any of you have done have had a GLP-1 journey. Put in the comments below what your journey was like, or is it something you were afraid to start? And I was a little nervous to begin with, and I didn't want to be on a medication for the rest of my life. Well, another one. I'm an asthmatic. I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life because I have not found anything naturally that stops an asthma attack that I can carry around with me every day. Some people say drink a Coke, a hot Coke. I don't drink Coke. And I'm sure not going to drink a hot Coke. And I remember trying that as a teenager and it not working. There is one over-the-counter asthma inhaler. That's just, I can remember it burning my throat so bad. So I will always be on that prescription for the rest of my life unless they somehow cure asthma. And I don't even think they're trying. So, but I can't say that I won't be microdosing from time to time for the rest of my life. I don't know. But I know that I got rid of all of my big clothes. And I did that on purpose. I was like, I'm not going to have this as a backup in case no, I'm not doing that. I just got rid of the clothes. So a lot of them got donated. Some of them got sold to consignment. Some went on my Poshmark. You notice my Poshmark virtually has nothing on sale right now. I do have a few SLGs and possibly some handbags that I will be adding up there pretty soon. But that's my experience with my GLP-1 weight loss. It was the only thing in my life that actually was successful, that I didn't have horrible side effects, that I felt was life-changing. Not taking 1,000 pills a day. I mean, with Herbalife, I think I was taking like 27 supplements a day. No wonder I wasn't hungry. I was filling my body with vitamins, and I do take supplements now. Maybe at some point I'll show you what I take in a day. But I take them for skin health. I take them for hair health. I take them for health, that type of thing. Things that I don't get into my daily diet. I do take colostrum every single day. So does my husband. So I'm focused on full body health. I do need to pick up my exercise. I get a lot of movement in a day. I need some strength training. That's what I need right now, is some strength training, not like weight loss, burn calorie type thing, but strength training. So if any of this hit home for you, if you have had a similar journey or a completely opposite journey, please leave me a comment in the description box below. Let me know how yours went. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. This is my journey. And some of you have had questions, and it's been 2 years. I've kept the weight off with very little GLP-1. And like I said, I went months without it. And then I started hearing a little bit of food noise, got a little nervous. And I think I got up to 117 and I took a microdose and it took me back down again. And that's how I'm managing my journey. So I hope you guys have a very happy day. Thank you for spending time with me today. And I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.